Well, good morning. Welcome to today's Knowledge Miles lecture, the series of lectures we're holding to celebrate the Lord Mayoralty of Professor Michael Monelli, 695th Lord Mayor of London. We're focusing today on autism approaches, enhancing skills with virtual reality and motion tracking haptic gloves. And the session this morning is being supported by the Worshipful Company of Glovers, one of the many guilds and trades organisations in the City of London. My name is Mike Wardle. I'm here to chair the session today. Will hopefully guide you through it fairly easily. The programme is very simple. We have a very brief introduction from me, followed by our keynote presentation from our speakers, Tess Steventon and Marius Beilfeld, and then we'll go into Q&A. If you haven't used the GoToWebinar system before, the way to put a question into our speakers is to find the questions tab on the dashboard on your screen, type in your question or your observation. That'll be fielded by us during the Q&A session. But you can put in a question or an observation at any point during the webinar, so please don't lose that thought. If it comes to you, get it into the system. We're recording the session today, so if you want to go back and re-watch, or if you have friends or colleagues that you think might find it useful and interesting, the recording will be posted on our website within around 24 hours, and it'll be available, obviously, for you to take a look. So I think that's all by way of our housekeeping. It's a really pleasure to introduce Tess Steventon and Marius Beilfeld. Tess is an occupational therapist working at the Sybil Elgar School and with the National Autistic Society. Marius is a musician and accessibility and innovation coordinator, also at the Sybil Elgar School. And really looking forward to hearing, I think, what's going to be an interesting session about how to combine technology and learning. Tess and Marius, the floor is yours. Looking forward very much to hearing from you.
Thank you, Mike. We hope you can see our screen.
See a landscape at the moment.
How's that?
Excellent, thank you.
Excellent. Well, it's a great privilege for us to present today's talk with support from the Worshipful Company of Glovers, who has generously donated all the equipment we will be speaking about today. We are deeply appreciative to be recipients of their generosity, which they have extended recently to a further donation. This has enabled us to start exploring a fresh path for therapy and education using immersive technology that motivates, boosts confidence, and enhances skills for our autistic pupils and students. Our equipment includes haptic feedback gloves and 5 sets of virtual reality headsets, which offers 6 degrees of freedom movement, allowing a user to move and look around in a virtual space freely. Unlike the 3 degree of freedom movement headsets, which only allows you to look around, which is currently the standard offering of VR in other schools. We wanted to offer a fully immersive, interactive VR experience to our students. And we also received a 360-degree camera, which we will use for virtual tours. A bit about our school. So we are Sybil Elgar School, part of the National Autistic Society. In 1965, a group of pioneering parents asked Montessori trainee teacher Sybil Elgar to start a school for their children in West London. It's the world's first school specifically for autistic children at a time when there were no other provision for them, and children were often diagnosed with childhood schizophrenia and sent to institutions. Amongst others, John Lennon visited the school and donated to help with the cause. There are now 4 National Autistic Society schools, and they are the UK's leading autism charity. We will frame our discussion to touch on the following today. Tess will give an overview of autism and speak about how VR could be used as a potential aid. I will then discuss opportunities in haptic motion tracking gloves and immersive technologies, and speak about collaboration, support, and partnerships. Thanks, Tess.
Thanks, Marius. Autism is a spectrum condition and it affects each person in different ways. More than 1 in 100 people are on the autism spectrum, and there are 700,000 autistic adults and children in the UK. Autistic people display social communication and social interaction challenges. For some, this may mean they're not able to speak at all. For others, they may have difficulties with more subtle aspects of communication, such as understanding facial expressions and body language. Autistic people also display repetitive behaviours and experience differences in the way they process information. They may find certain sounds distressing or become overwhelmed by bright lights. With its unwritten rules, the world can seem a very unpredictable and confusing place to autistic people. This is why they often prefer to have routines so that they know exactly what is going to happen. They may want to travel to and from work the same way, wear the same clothes, or eat exactly the same foods for breakfast each day. Autistic people have varying support needs, and around 1/3 will also have a learning disability. Some will have high support needs and may require full-time care and assistance. Others will need just a bit of support with day-to-day activities, and others will live fully independent lives. Many autistic people experience high levels of anxiety, and it is common for around 50% to receive a clinical diagnosis. They are also 4 times more likely to experience depression. Although not part of the diagnostic criteria, many autistic people face challenges with their motor skills, with research finding that over 80% have noticeable differences in their motor functioning. These challenges frequently affect fine motor skills, which require the use of the hands, for example, the ability to write or to clean their own teeth. Gross motor skills, which use the larger muscles of the bodies, can also be impacted. So this means people may have difficulty with balance or coordination activities, like riding a bike or participating in a dance class. As motor skills are required for such a wide range of everyday activity, a person's confidence and self-image can be negatively impacted by these challenges. Research also suggests that autistic people have lower levels of physical activity and are at increased risk of overweight and related health conditions such as diabetes. From practical experience working with students at our school, we have found that technology can be a helpful tool to promote the development of a range of skills. There is a long history of autistic people using technology, from tape recorders to support note-taking, to iPads with communication and learning apps. We have found these tools are not only helpful, but that autistic students often seem to have a natural connection and ability to use this technology. And academic research also supports these observations. So we will now present a series of composite case studies, which are based on a number of students at Sybil Elgar School with whom we've been using the various pieces of technology to address some of the challenges outlined. So our first case study is a 16-year-old young man who has challenges with emotional regulation, particularly if there are changes to his routines or if he feels something wasn't fair. He also has challenges with full body coordination and motor planning, and this impacts his confidence to participate in PE lessons and canoeing sessions in the local community. In addition, he needs learning activities to be highly motivated and linked to his interests. So our first example of using the technology to support our students is in relation to their challenges with gross motor skills. The interactive VR headsets provide an opportunity for the user to participate in motivating movement activities within the virtual world. We've tried a range of games, but we found O-Shape to be the most popular and engaging for our students. O-Shape is a rhythm game where players dance and move to go through, break down and dodge walls following the beat of the music. The game is similar to the TV show Hole in the Wall, which some of you may be familiar with. This game is beneficial as it encourages a range of full body movements in a fun way. So here, hopefully you can see on the screen, one of our students using the game with a side-by-side view from inside the headset. As part of our project, we also wanted to explore ways VR could help with anxiety and sensory sensitivities. By using games which focus on relaxing environments, we've been able to provide students with opportunities to enter virtual spaces that support them to feel calm. The game Nature Treks allows players to explore a variety of natural environments whilst calming music plays in the background. This includes the ability to visit simulations of places which would usually be difficult for our students to access, such as tropical beaches or virtual scuba diving. A player can also modify the environments, which adds a more interactive and engaging element to the game. They can add plants, change the weather, or alter the light levels by controlling the time of day. Using the VR headsets as an immersive tool for subject-based learning is another application of the technology we've explored. We have seen that VR games can address educational challenges by providing interactive experiences that make learning engaging and fun. The technology has also promoted social skills through teamwork and communication. Sessions regularly include students watching the screencast video from inside the headset and encouraging the person playing. We've also regularly seen that students help one another with any tech challenges. So here you can see a video of Kayak VR, which is a game that encourages the development of upper body coordination, potentially leading to real-life improvement with kayaking and canoeing skills. This game provides a rich visual environment featuring natural landscapes and water scenes that can be calming and engaging. We've also been able to use this game as part of geography education, as the students navigate a kayak in simulations of real-world locations, including Australia, Norway, and Antarctica. Gravity Sketch is an example of using VR to enhance the subject area of art. The program enables students to express themselves artistically by creating 3D sculptures and images. Gravity Sketch literally allows artists to be surrounded by their artwork. As part of the project, we have been exploring future use cases for the VR headsets, and this has revealed their potential in diverse fields such as the development of social communication skills and employment training, including virtual job interviews. This technology also continues to expand further into therapeutic and educational arenas, offering a variety of games designed to enhance many different skills. As we've outlined, the VR headsets provide many wonderful opportunities to support students' learning, motor skills, and well-being. It is, however, important that we also acknowledge some of the barriers and limitations that we have found with this technology. Cost and the technical learning curve associated with equipment are both challenges. In addition, interactive VR headsets do have an age limit, with most manufacturers suggesting they not be used with anyone under the age of 13 years. For our cohort, there are a large number of students for whom wearing a headset would not be suitable. For some, this may be related to their sensory needs, and for others, it might be that the experience may be too overwhelming in general. We also need to consider the risk of cyber sickness. Cyber sickness is a nausea caused by immersive digital environments like VR. And for our students, we additionally need to take into account their ability to communicate their experiences to the staff supporting them. So it's crucial that the staff running the sessions know the students well and closely observe for any signs of discomfort. Lastly, from a motor perspective, the headsets predominantly focus on developing whole body gross motor coordination rather than hand movements and fine motor function. So it's for these reasons that we sought out other technologies to include in this project, which Marius is going to speak to you about now. Thanks, Marius.
Thanks, Tess. I will give you another composite case study of someone who may not want to wear a VR headset. An 8-year-old autistic student who communicates through minimal verbal interactions, often expressing herself using just a few words. She has tactile sensitivity and will not tolerate anything on her head or ears. She shows significant motor challenges. She can't write yet and only has limited drawing skills. There are many students with a similar profile in our school. That's why we opted to extend the project to a larger number of students by adding haptic motion capture gloves to our purchases with the funding that we received from the glovers. And we acquired these from a company called Senzo. The Senso gloves link with the Cognomate game platform, which was originally designed to support neurological rehabilitation for a range of conditions like stroke or cerebral palsy. The platform is based on principles of neuroplasticity of the brain, gamification, and biofeedback. These games require precise movements of the hands, facilitating the development of essential motor skills necessary to complete functional tasks. The integration of haptic feedback helps to reinforce the learning of key hand movements, promoting neuroplasticity and aiding motor learning in a way that is both intuitive and effective. Our understanding from working closely with both Senso and Cognomate is that our school is the first application of their technology with autistic students. We really hope the videos are coming out okay on your end, as we felt it was important to include them just to show how we are using the equipment. We have managed to offer sessions to a growing number of students, and they really love these games. We see that these gloves can help address the difficulties that many autistic people face with hand function. For this cohort of students, these gloves offer a more intuitive way of interacting with computer games than the traditional mouse or keyboard or joystick. The gloves are another step closer to increasing engagement through computer game accessibility and all the benefits that come with it. Two really good features of the gloves are that many more students are comfortable with wearing gloves that may not want to wear a VR headset. And two, the games are played on a laptop, which makes the student experience visible to the teacher for help and support. We want to make sure that those with high support needs are included in our outlook for technology so we can leverage its usefulness, such as to learn essential communication science, which is a key goal for us to continue working towards. The most effective use of the gloves would be to design custom applications to target specific sensory or fine motor development needs. And beyond using the gloves for on-screen computer applications, for those okay with wearing a VR headset, they would be able to allow a user to feel virtual objects and environments. This can include sensations like texture, resistance, and impact, which make the virtual world more tangible and realistic. This also has positive implications for those pursuing work experience to learn new skills for employability, for example, to gain hands-on experience in a safe and controlled environment. You also get haptic accessories for other parts of the body, like body vests or jackets. And there is a potential use case that we are not looking at yet for these items to serve those students with sensory needs related to touch on their skin, for example, sensitive to clothing or physical contact with others. The main barriers are that the technology is still relatively expensive. For the gloves, the computers that with minimum spec requirement to run the applications, but costs will come down. Further growth in this field relies on developers working closely with teaching professionals to create applications. The most immediate barrier, however, is that just like VR, like the VR headsets, the gloves are not suitable for everyone, and not everyone will want to wear a set of gloves. With the exception of iPads, which some may use for a tool for communication, learning, and regulating emotions, there still isn't much available at consumer level that can help those not comfortable with wearing the gloves to meaningfully engage with computer applications in the ways that others do. Let me present another case study based on a subsection of our cohort with higher support needs. A 20-year-old young adult who don't speak. He can't sign, but has the ability to learn in a structured and consistent setting. Traditional forms of communication give way to more subtle, often misunderstood modes of expression. Eye contact is a particular challenge for him, often leading to overstimulation and anxiety. His anxiety and frequent meltdowns necessitate a tailored approach to learning in a controlled environment that is highly structured and predictable for him. He enjoys using the iPad to draw, which helps him regulate. We offer a person-centered approach to support individuals similar to this through transdisciplinary input from parents, therapy teams, psychology, speech and language, occupational therapy, and teachers. And we are capturing growing information to better understand and support him to keep safe, healthy, happy, and to do the things that he loves most. The unpredictability of life can be overwhelming, making it essential to maintain a consistent and structured environment, which he really relies on. His communication challenges adds complexity, as conveying his needs to others and understanding others is difficult. We strive to maintain consistency to support his learning and development effectively. However, the current limitations with technology limit his access to computer learning applications. Now more than ever, technology exists that may be able to help students like this, to maybe sign a few essential signs, to develop social skills through gamification and engage in motivating learning activities. This underscores the need for teaching strategies that go beyond conventional methods. It's crucial we continue to explore technology to hone a style of teaching that resonates with him. For example, currently in existence and under development is motion input, which originated from UCL computer science. This technology enables computer input using various methods such as facial expressions or head movements, physical gestures, eye gaze, and sound detection. Additionally, it incorporates AI to manage hand jitter. Motion input is captured via a standard webcam, reducing the cost. We are very much in alignment with this quote from the Motion Input website. For an autistic person, it can be difficult to express themselves to others, especially when they don't speak. Technology like motion input could potentially be used in the not too distant future for an autistic student with high support needs to interact with on-screen learning activities. This can teach essential skills in a highly structured and predictable way. It wouldn't rely on accurate input from the student. Rather, it could interpret his actions, body language, facial expressions, and vocal sounds to provide the best response for that particular student. Also, this could help teachers and therapists to learn more about what he likes and what motivates him. We are very grateful to be working with Professor Dean Muhammad Ali and his team to help with the future development of applications. To summarize, there's still much more for us to learn about past research and also future possibilities. Here's an illustration of how we see the current technology combined to work for autistic people with a wide range of abilities and support needs. For example, to offer bespoke applications, we can use motion capture gloves to streamline the animation process by providing fast hand tracking data, speeding up the development cycle. Modeling software can be used through partnerships such as UCL and support from companies like Senzo and Cognimate to create animations and create the games. With current computing capabilities, there is opportunity for two-way interaction. For example, a computer can prompt a response from a person and then be able to assess and build on that response. And lastly, motion input could allow interactions without external devices other than a webcam. This has potential to provide an interactive digital learning experience where students that would not intuitively be able to use computer hardware can learn and play games such as motion input games or control media sources with the wave of a hand, vocalization, or blink of an eye. We look to the future with a pioneering spirit with our sponsors and partners, the Worshipful Company of Glovers, UCL and Motion Input Games, and collaborators Senzo, Gloves, and Cognimate, to help us deliver technology-enhanced learning to those who need it most. And Gloves play an essential role in making this type of teaching a reality. There are wonderful examples of gloves across the ages on the Glove Collection Trust website. Over centuries, glove makers have used technology that was available at the time, such as tanning of leather or intricate embroidery, to create what are essentially tools to protect the hands and to provide warmth. Now, centuries later, with the advancement of technology, gloves can serve a purpose beyond warming or protecting the hands. In the digital age, gloves have become tools that can bring education to life in ways that the glove makers of the past would have never imagined, to supplement autism teaching and therapy in a way that our NAS founding members may not have ever imagined. We feel optimistic here in the World's Coffee House that industry will continue to help us with the pursuit towards more accessible technology-enhanced learning. Thank you. We will now pass back to you, Mike.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Marius and Tess. Really fascinating to hear how we're trying to use technology to innovate for and provide individualized learning. Liz Tossler has asked, I think, a really good question. Could you briefly explain how the haptic gloves work? And what exactly do they do for those who haven't come across them?
Excellent. Tess, do you want to take that one?
So just out of interest, if you were able to see the video or not, yeah, okay, good. So basically, the gloves. The person wears one glove on one hand. That there's what are the devices?
Antennas.
Yeah, there's antennas that are connected to the laptop, and it basically registers the movement of the hand and then translates it into actions on the screen. So the person's free to sort of move about within a certain radius. So they're not physically connected to the laptop. And there's just various games on the platform that control different movements. So there's somewhere controlling a bird or a plane. And it's just, you basically can set the gloves to target certain movements. So we will often use this sort of opening and closing the hand movement. It's something that often our children do have trouble with. And so that's something that we're looking at. And then basically that they need to do that in sort of time on the screen. But there are other movements as well that you can specifically target. And it basically logs their progress on the app as well in terms of their accuracy and their range of movement.
Thank you very much. Felicity Chadwick-Histed has asked how the project knowledge that you're developing will be shared amongst the community who are both interested or people who have autism more widely.
Well, we have published some information online, which is limited during this process of still gathering information and experience. We will certainly be sharing it with anyone who is interested in learning how we use the technology, particularly our other NAS schools. I think that's our starting point by going out and just using the technology, inviting others to come and use it here. Hopefully through more talks and just collaborations with people.
Well, of course, we'll be sharing the recording of this through our website, so you'll reach
and you
a different audience.
You can keep an eye on our website as well. We will update with any new information.
Thank you. Paul McDonald's asked about the process by which you feed back to game developers to ensure that the products you're using kind of meet your needs. And the follow-up question is, how responsive do you find developers in responding to this feedback and adding to their product roadmap?
Can I take it?
Yeah.
We are currently we're not we have a partnership with UCL in the early stages. So they're master students. We've submitted some proposals for games, some suggestions, things that we felt would be really useful for students, particularly related to communication science. And other actions, life skills type of applications. So in terms of the communication and the process, we don't have experience with that yet, but Professor Dean Muhammad Ali has been very, very good in terms of keeping us up to date. And I know that there is a particular game that they want to develop with us, and we will take that on when it comes our way. In addition, our other contact with developers are the glove maker Senzo, the company who Alexei from Senzo has visited us and helped us to integrate the gloves into a VR environment as well. So, as far as they're concerned, really good communication, and we will look to the future to see what they can potentially help us with in terms of developing things as well.
I was going to say, I think that with the gloves, it's been really useful that the fact that they were able to come to our school and see our students' needs, and also sort of talking to myself and our other occupational therapists, particularly about what movements do we need to target, because it perhaps is quite different to someone who's maybe had a stroke or cerebral palsy, and so they've been very responsive in terms of looking to the future for what kind of games, what movements would help our cohort, which again are potentially a little bit different. So that's been positive as well.
That sounds really good. Shane Drinians wants to broaden things out a bit and just ask whether you can see this kind of technology being used to help people across the whole spectrum of neurodiversity. And is this kind of technology something you think is more universally applicable to people whose brains are wired as they are?
I think this technology is applicable to everybody, really, and any learning at any stage. Perhaps in our context with autism, for example, we have felt that many students that find social interaction with people really difficult are really, really confident with using technology. And often someone that doesn't speak can go to the computer and type their favorite things into the search bar or something like that. So there's definitely a gravitation towards that. How far that extends to other parts of the neurodiverse population, can't comment on. But certainly, I mean, it is the principles apply to everybody. The principles of gamification and engaging in motivating activities.
And I think I guess when we're looking at from a motor perspective, that I think for someone with motor dyspraxia or developmental coordination disorder, that kind of thing, that it's a safe space for them to play. There's perhaps less pressure than if there's a social group and someone's feeling pressured to perform. That it's you're playing against yourself. You're trying to beat your own score. And although they don't have a diagnosis of dyspraxia, our students do have those coordination challenges, and it's a nice way of sort of supporting that. That again, you're aiming to improve your own score. It's not about beating somebody else, and it's kind of developing those skills in a really positive way. So I think that, that application, is something that sort of warrants further exploration.
Mm-hmm. Chloe Wolfe has asked whether you find certain cohorts of students embrace the technology more than others. Is there males versus females, younger versus older students? Are there differences in the way that people approach the technology?
Yeah, I think we have seen that. I think from what we found so far, I would say that the older students tend to prefer the VR. I mean, if they've had the experiences of the gloves, I guess because it's so immersive. As Marius said, that the headsets we've got are kind of the cutting edge ones. So the field of view is excellent. The resolution is excellent. So it's this incredible experience for them. That said, they do still enjoy the glove games. But definitely, I think we've found the primary students, our younger students, to really enjoy the gloves, that feedback that they get from collecting coins or whatever it is that they need to do on that game, and they're used to games, on the iPad and what have you. So it's it's something that they really enjoy.
Henry Tillman here has commented, he said, first of all, bravo for the work you're doing and for linking back to the university sector, suggesting you might want to reach out to the adult autistic choir, in which I know Henry founded with Goldsmiths a little while ago, and just to see whether there are applications also related to innovation in music, so more of a comment than a question. And Felicity Chewik-Histid has asked about how might consideration of a moderate use of games be taught to young students. I mean, how do you balance the excitement of a game with spending time doing other things?
Yes, it's all part of the teaching process. Everything in its time. We are particularly interested in looking at mood and offering some games to students who may not want to go out, be with other people, go out in the community, and particularly interested to see how by playing a game and experiencing perhaps an uplift in mood may potentially help them to transition to other places. So that's a particular use. But yes, so in terms of being constantly wanting to play, especially with VR, we are offering it in very precise slots. There's a 15-minute maximum time that you can spend with it, particularly due to the cyber sickness that you can experience as well. And we find that the motivating aspect of it, really, looking forward to doing it next time, really helps students get through the day with a positive attitude. And so far, we've not experienced anyone that refuses to leave the VR world or anything like that.
No, they've been very good. I mean, we do use external aids like. We tend to have a few students in the session together, either 2 or 3, and we do have we've got timers, and we sort of set that out beforehand, and they're very good. They know that their friends have a go and then they have a go, and I think they get to watch one another on the screen, and it's so far it's all been very positive. But as Mary said, it's all very structured and at set routine times.
Thanks very much. A final question here, just what outcomes have you defined for the kind of project, and by when? I mean, are you looking for particular outcomes, and how are you doing in terms of progress?
I think one of the outcomes is to offer this immersive technology, not just VR, but the full motion input things to all of our students, because at this point there are some that can use the VR, there are some that can use the gloves, but there are some that can't use either one of the two. So that's definitely one of the things we want to do. Is we've started with the VR, we're moving through the gloves, and we are now actually on a path to perhaps help everyone in the school. Then the other outcome would be, as mentioned, looking how what impact these sessions can have on students' mood. And I believe the other one is your occupational therapy with movement and coordination.
Yeah.
Do you want to add anything to that?
I guess at this stage, because it's been sort of the pilot, we haven't had specific assessments, but in the future we're planning to, there are standardised assessments that you can use that will measure, before and after outcome measures for sort of gross motor and fine motor skills. At the moment, we're more looking at, though, I guess, sort of secondary outcomes in that, if they're working on their hand skills in a fun game, are we then seeing improvements in, their ability to do up a zip or to use cutlery or what have you? So I guess it's just kind of an adjunct to the rest of their educational and therapeutic program at the moment, but it is something that we're looking at for the next stage.
Also, for example, not sure how the video is translated in the presentation. There was one of the kayak game, to transfer skills from the virtual world to the real world. Does using the and Tess and her team have very cleverly adapted an actual pedal to attach to the controllers, so that it's not just holding controllers while you're paddling in VR. It's actually holding a large paddle, which we want to see how that affects actual kayaking experience, which our students do attend out in the community. For those who just can't get the coordination at all when they're on the water, they can practice indoors and hopefully transfer it.
Well, thank you very much indeed. We're coming to the end of the session, so I'm going to have to close down the questions at this point. But a really fascinating topic. I know that for some people, you didn't actually see the video running. You saw sort of series of framed photos. So we'll see if we can post the video separately on the website alongside the recording of the webinar. So those of you who want to go back and see the videos, we'll try and get those up as well. So just taking, first of all, a brief look forward, we've got other lectures coming up tomorrow: Sustainability, the Circular Ecology and Circular Economy. On Monday, Investment Opportunities to Use Science to Make Land Use Sustainable. And on the 17th, Unlocking Neurodiversity in Insurance and Investment. So a link through to today. And remembering that our current Lord Mayor's motto for his year is Connected to Prosper. And I think the work that Marius and Tess have been doing and outlining for us today is very much about connection, and I hope is also about your students prospering and making excellent progress. So just remains for me to offer my thanks to you, the audience, for your attention and your attendance today, and for asking some very good and pointed questions, but particularly to Marius and Tess. Thank you so much for the insights you've given us today and the work that you're doing, and we look forward very much to seeing the outcome of your continued work. And finally, thanks obviously to the Worshipful Company of Glovers for your support, both for Marius and Tess and their work, and for this webinar. Many thanks. We'll see you all at another event very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.